Next, NASA says its Voyager 1 probe, the most distant human-made object in the universe, is sending usable information to Earth again.
For over 4 decades, Voyager 1 has traveled farther than any human-made object in history, a silent messenger coasting through the emptiness of interstellar space. It left Earth in 1977, carrying with it the hopes of humanity, a golden record, and an indomitable curiosity about what lies beyond. It passed the outer planets, delivering stunning images and groundbreaking data before vanishing into the abyss. For years now, it has been a ghost in the deep, whispering back faint signals from the void. And then, against all expectations, it turned. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. It was never designed to do that. Voyager 1 was built to go forward, forever forward, past the heliopause into the cold and quiet dark beyond the reach of the sun's influence. But something changed. Its telemetry began to show anomalous readings, subtle at first, almost indistinguishable from background noise. Then the signals grew sharper, the trajectory calculations more erratic. Engineers at NASA were baffled. The spacecraft, long past its prime, with onboard systems patched and reprogrammed over the years to squeeze out every last ounce of functionality, should not have been able to do what it was doing. Yet the data showed it unmistakably. Voyager 1 was altering its course. The shift was slow but deliberate. Instruments designed to monitor its attitude showed slight angular adjustments, fractional at first but accumulating with consistency. Initially thought to be a malfunction in its aging gyroscopes, further diagnostics ruled that out. What followed was a wave of controlled maneuvers, subtle reorientations, as if the craft were aligning itself toward something, not toward Earth, nor any known object cataloged by astronomers. Its vector bent toward a part of the sky previously unremarkable, a patch of interstellar darkness. Over the next several weeks, as the spacecraft completed its arc and faced this obscure region, its instruments began transmitting again, stronger and clearer than they had in years. Readings spiked, energy levels surged. Something was out there. The magnetometer, dormant for years, flared with activity. Particle detectors, thought to be irrelevant in the near-sterile interstellar medium, began registering patterns, waves and pulses that matched nothing previously recorded. And then came the images. The Voyager's camera, long thought to be inoperative, blinked back to life. It captured frames, dozens of them, of something beyond comprehension. Not a star, not a planet, not even an object in the traditional sense. The images were strange, layered with distortion and patterns that seemed to shift with each frame. At first glance, it looked like a void within the void, a circular absence in the blackness, but one frame by flickers of geometrical symmetry. Around this absence swirled faintly glowing forms like halos of intelligent motion, shapes that did not hold still but gave the sense of structure, alive with purpose. What Voyager had turned toward was not a celestial body in the normal sense, it was a phenomenon, maybe even a construct. Some began calling it a gravitational mirror, though that name barely scratched the surface. What the probe had encountered was something reflective, but not of light. It was reflecting time, or intention, or possibly awareness. When the signal reached Earth, the instruments recorded a spike in electromagnetic activity that affected not only deep space listening stations, but even sensitive instruments in orbit. For 0.21 seconds, a global anomaly was registered in the ionosphere. No damage occurred, but clocks shifted. GPS systems reset subtly. The signal from Voyager wasn't just data, it was interference with reality itself. Astronomers pored over the images. Physicists ran simulations for days on end. The patterns transmitted were not random. They repeated. Every 137.5 seconds, a cycle unfolded, a spiral of energy signatures embedded with mathematical constants, too perfect to be accidental. Prime numbers danced through the data, as did sequences embedded with the Fibonacci pattern, fractal repetitions, and what appeared to be language. Not a human language, but a syntax of causality, logic, and force. Something out there was communicating not with words, but with physics. The turning of Voyager 1 wasn't just a physical motion, it was a reaction. Something called it back. It had passed a threshold. The general consensus among those with access to the unfiltered data was unanimous. Voyager had crossed into a region of space shaped not just by natural forces but by intention, by design. The implication was stunning. The probe hadn't just stumbled upon a cosmic phenomenon, it had found a border, or perhaps it had been found. The shape captured in the images remained stable, though its form continued to distort in ways that made analysis frustrating. It was as though every observation changed it slightly, as if being looked at altered what it wanted to be. The most startling result came when the radio spectrometer, a dormant relic on board the probe, transmitted readings that mimicked frequencies only found in human neurological patterns. These frequencies oscillated in ranges that mimicked those of emotional states: fear, elation, memory recall. It wasn't random, it was resonant. Voyager 1 wasn't just observing something, it was reacting to it, or vice versa. The world came to a standstill, not from panic, but from awe. This was not the discovery of an alien civilization in the traditional sense, no spaceships, no creatures, no signals in the conventional way. It was more intimate, more primal. Voyager had made contact with something foundational, something that played not with technology, but with the core properties of reality. Gravity bent differently around the object. Light behaved in new, rule-breaking ways. Even time-stamped signals from the probe were arriving milliseconds faster than predicted, defying the speed of light limitations by margins too small to be artifacts, yet too consistent to ignore. Every physicist's blackboard lit up with equations that no longer held true. Constants began to look more like variables. The fine structure constant showed anomalies. The Planck scale trembled. It was as if, at that precise point in space, the foundational laws had begun to loosen their rigidity. As if the universe there was writable, flexible, subject to will. There was no boom, no explosion, no alien monologue delivered over interstellar bandwidths. There was only a change, a tilt in the balance of understanding. Voyager 1 was now not just a spacecraft, but a witness, an extension of our collective consciousness peering into something that perhaps was never meant to be found this soon. It had touched a place or an intelligence that wasn't indifferent like the cold cosmos. It had touched something awake. Radio silence followed. The probe's signals diminished over the next several days, not due to power failure, but as if the line was being drawn closed. Engineers tried to reassert manual control, tried to regain the stream of data, but the spacecraft was now operating on its own time. It had turned back, but not toward home. It had merely realigned, acknowledged perhaps, and then returned to its strange, deliberate motion into the dark. The implications were enormous. The scientific community found itself split, not in belief, but in interpretation. Was this a message? A warning? A test? Had we just discovered a cosmic intelligence beyond scale? Or a deeper layer of the universe, operating under rules we've never dreamed of? Some theorized it was an interdimensional boundary. Others believed Voyager had entered the edge of a simulation, the point where code becomes conscious. Still others suggested it was a seed, a construct placed at the outer reaches of reachability, programmed to respond when found. One undeniable conclusion settled in the minds of those who had spent their lives chasing answers in the sky. Voyager's path was not accidental. It had been guided, perhaps, from the beginning. That distant, cold construct had not merely reacted to the probe's approach, it had anticipated it. The signals Voyager sent back included low-frequency pulses not seen in nature until they were mirrored in natural resonance patterns of certain regions on Earth. Mountains hummed faintly with the same spectral frequency. The deep ocean vibrated with it. Even the human brain, under fMRI, showed weak but matching impulses when stimulated with Voyager's recorded tones. Whatever had been found, it had been connected to us from the start. The technology on board Voyager 1 was primitive by modern standards, an 8-track tape recorder, outdated processors, analog instruments, but perhaps that was the key. Perhaps only such a machine, blind to complexity, could have opened this door. Like a lock responding not to force but to simplicity, the object had responded to Voyager not because it was advanced, but because it was honest. Pure intention, pure curiosity, unburdened by ambition or conquest. No governments made official announcements, no press conferences were held. But the people knew. The sky felt different. Something fundamental had changed in our relationship with the cosmos. It wasn't a question of belief anymore. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was full. It was a pause, deliberate and immense, echoing with possibilities. What Voyager 1 had found, or had been shown, was not something easily defined. It wasn't a place, or a thing, or even an event. It was a threshold. a meeting point between what we are and what we might become. And in turning back, even for a moment, it had shown us that we were never truly alone. More importantly, it showed us that the universe is not merely a space to be explored, but a conversation waiting to happen, and Voyager had spoken first. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Voyager 1 turning back after decades in deep space? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.